Alright, hello there. So, here we have a game between me and Charles, and as you see by this graph, it was a wild back and forth game here. Black and white just going back and forth at it. And even the computer coach says wild. A chaotic game where both players had many chances to win, and in fact, Charles had 3 missed wins on me, and I had 1 missed win on him. This is my first Blitz game in a while. This is Charles' specialty here, and he played with 31% accuracy, and I played with 34% accuracy. So, I mean, wow. Anyway, let's just get into it. I'm gonna click Start Review, and it just flies forward like that there, and it says, of course, I'm going for the London here. Accelerated London system. Let's go move by move. Okay, that's normal development. I would move my pawn or my knight here, I would reckon. And there we go, of course. And then over here it says, yes, this is the way. This little coach will tell you what it thinks about every move. Now here he says, this is inaccuracy. This loses material. And in the London, we always want to take this. If I remember, this works out badly. So of course I take, you know what I'm saying. What happens? He takes, I take. That seems all about regular. Okay, he develops his white bishop. I mean, he's attacking this, but without any backup, that's not a real danger. Until the queen moves. Developing the knight right there. Okay. He's pinning that knight down to the king. I could boot him, but I usually like to leave this guy here. He ends up there so often that you might as well just leave him there. He's now occupied. Oh, no, I boot him. I try to boot him just like I said I wasn't going to. And then, bam, he says, whatever. You've forced my move. I'm taking. Doubles up my pawns, but opens up this file for my rook, which I want to take advantage of at some point. Okay, reinforcing these guys here, developing and being able to castle. That's very good. Me, I kind of want to come out here, get a check, then do the dance. I see this dance happening. Then I'll be aiming at this and adding. So he's going to join the fray. Let's see if that's what I do. Not at all. I just develop a knight. I guess I'm protecting this guy who's been floating out there butt naked for all this time. Okay, now the computer's like, it doesn't like this. And I guess when I take back, I'm undoubling my pawns and I'm creating a barrier for my queen. I actually see this is not the greatest move. I'm taking anyway. And then the queen comes on down. Now I'm getting vibes of queen check and forcing things to happen and making my life unpleasant. Now you have this bishop here aiming on down. You're not going to attack my queen with either of these pieces, but the king is still in the center. So I think my next move should be kind of developed right here. And if he takes, I take back. Let's take a look what happens. Then they say, no, the dance is not good. And the computer suggesting what I was just saying, you know, attacking this bishop. But the first thought definitely was, what you doing? Attacking that bishop was one of the last thoughts I had. But my first thought was to create this dance and end up here. You know what I'm saying? And now it's attacking the queen. So let's see what happens. I missed that in the game. And I missed it even when I was analyzing it. I'm just destined to have not seen that move. And there's not much benefit from that for me. It was just a complete and total fuck up. And now I can't castle, which is not a good sign. So, I just fucked up terribly. And if you look at the graph, where are we? I think we're here. You see, that's my mistake. White was winning, white was winning, white was winning. And I just did that stupid shit, and bam. Black is now in order. Black is winning. Black is ahead. Okay. So now I'm just trying to make some sort of attack. And even the computer says this move doesn't hurt much, but it doesn't help either. Just trying to get folks in the game, yo. Just trying to get folks in the game. Okay, castles. That's actually a great move. Even though the computer says this ignores a chance to move a bishop to a more active square. So sometimes I think the computer might not get it. This castling was good. I want to castle and I can't. So got his bishop though. Lose my knight. Didn't have a plan other than that. I'm not sure if that was, you know, the greatest moves, but here we are. He's now conclusively winning. I've got 2 rooks and a queen. He's got 2 rooks, a queen, plus a knight. And so I'm attacking his queen. He's got to run. Computer doesn't like that, but this pawn is forfeit. And I'm looking to do some damage. I'm thinking to come here or castle, but I'm probably going to move the queen, desperately looking for a way to attack. I pinned the knight. The computer says the computer says, oh no. I'm not sure if it's right or not. He's got to protect that knight, or he's got to move the king. He protects it. I guess that does nullify my whole move right there. And eventually I'm gonna have to run the queen away, so maybe that wasn't so clever. But he does pin the knight down. The knight is still pinned down, and if he does move here and I move back, he's still pinned. And then if he attempts to move this pawn and undefends it, it'll get killed instead. So, I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Castle. Good. Good. I've been wanting to do that. And now, what move would I make? This pawn is still up for grabs right here. This pawn is up for grabs and attacks the knight and somehow unnecessarily protects the knight. So this is probably what I would do. Then again, you're not really attacking this, are you? Since the this rook will easily protect it. So either one of these pawns is what I'm looking at. Or bring in, well, if he brings this into the game, my queen can move back, still pinning the knight, and grab this pawn. Maybe bringing this rook into the game. Let's take a look what happens. Okay, booting the queen. We knew this was coming. And instead of maintaining the pin, I just run to the center. I think I'm aiming at this. Even though I know that this square is open, just an aggressive push, regain some initiative, and perhaps a pattern will emerge. Okay, that move doesn't stop anything I was doing. The knight is unpinned and therefore it moved, but it was protected and it's not really attacking nothing. And this is ignored. So I'm just gonna go right in here. Right in here. That's what I think. Bob is your uncle. Now he does flee here, and then this is where I think I begin fucking up. This is not a correspondence game. This is a 3-minute game. And in correspondence, I'd be able to calculate very well whether or not sacrificing the queen, you know, going here, forcing a check. If he moves anywhere, then I'll just get the queen, which means the queens want to get me, which means the rook will be here. And I'm still behind, but so maybe it's not a smart idea. You know, his knight is preventing me from going to this square and saying anything, even though he'd have places to run to. So really, I don't know what's happening here. So I attack the queen. I think my hope was that he would take the pawn, and I would be able to safely come down here and say check again, and something would emerge. I was hoping to push this pawn, but you push it, and it's taken, and then what were you even doing? And at this point, I'm feeling like I've got a time crunch. I've got to just get this guy, and I don't know what I'm going to do next. He does take the pawn. The computer even says this is good for me. They say check, and they said there was only one good move, and you found it. So this is supposedly a great move. But what's the follow-up? That's a good move too. And going back, put him in check. It's good. It's cool and all, but he can run here. He can even run here. There's not much, and I've got to protect this rook, and I got to bring this motherfucker into the game. He does run, of course. I can't take and put him back in check because of this knight, who earlier I could have killed but left alive, and once I let him escape, he is causing the problems here. So the queen ain't got no real moves she can make, and this rook is in danger. The rook has got to move, one would think here, but who's gonna sacrifice a rook for this damn knight? This damn knight is doing wrong. Now I could bring this into the game to protect. Let's take a look what happens. They preempt, yeah. And then there were thoughts of this little trick where I say, you know, that's really not very clever. Then he takes the queen, then I take back and say check, then he moves, then I take the other rook. I'd have two rooks and he'd have a queen and I'm not sure that's good. But then I start to realize I got back rank mate threatening over here. I've got to move one of these pawns to give myself some breathing room. Now he's attacking this pawn once more, and on one hand that's okay. This pawn is not really doing much anyway. If he does take it, I'll be down in material, but I'd be up in significant moves. So because of that, I'm looking at ideas. Hopefully he does take it, and I can take this pawn here, allowing this rook push, pinning down this guy, kill it. If he takes back, put him in check, take the rook. And so I'm hoping that he does take, then I'll take, and then there'll be this push, this attack. Let's take a look what happens. Now it says you missed a chance to move to safety. He's talking about saving this pawn, when again him taking this pawn gives me this pawn, and so that would make it an even trade. So shut up, computer. If I keep that pawn down, I'm threatening he will be able to checkmate me on the back rank if I don't create a back door. So this is a case where I think shut up, computer. Anyway, so he might take that pawn, and that's what we want. Let's take a look. He took it. He took it. I took that pawn. Now let's see if I have the intelligence to follow up. Now this computer is like, do you wish to try that over again and do something else? No, computer, I don't. I actually don't. This is gonna work just fine. Oh, but actually I've got 26 seconds left or something. Alright, he attacks that rook, and that's fine. That's not where the rook wants to be, and that's where I fucked up, even via my own plans. Attacking the queen, allowing this pawn to take a rook, the rook that was supposed to go here. This is a case of me fucking myself, and I can't understand what would happen here, even if they do trade queens. I've got two rooks, he's got two rooks and a knight, so this is wrong, and I think it's that pressure here of time. He doesn't take, he does not take, and that's because he was in check. Let me go back a second. What's happening here? So when he attacks, I take a check and hope that I can kill his queen after he moves. I'm threatening the trade. I see it now, but that's not what happens, right? No! What is going on? I should have taken his queen. His queen is out there butt naked, but I didn't. 14 seconds left. Where he moved his queen, it doesn't even matter at this point. She's out the way, and I've got to mount some attack within this 14 seconds. I take that pawn. It was always up for grabs, but I mean, even the computer's like, what are you doing here? What are you doing? Okay, now he's pushing the pawn. Now I'm just trying to mount some sort of attack. Something. He moves that pawn forward. I ignore it. And I'm thinking to thoughts of check at least. And he moves. I take that knight anyway. The computer's like, what are you doing? This is terrible. But I don't see it. I don't see that. At the moment, we're struggling to make some sort of move. I'm hoping for this. And maybe something. I have no idea at this point. He takes, They say that this is great for white. I don't see it. All I see is this check right here. How this is great for white eludes me completely. I mean, this doesn't make sense. Trade queens, and even if we do trade queens, then I'll lose a rook. You'll have both his rooks. I have one rook left. I don't even understand what it's talking about. At this point, I'm so convinced this is the correct move that I bet that's what I did make. And of course, what else? He moves. Now the queen is under attack. It's not something I calculated. I'm still desperately trying to make moves here. I'm seeing this instantly. Check, and then a proper trade, and then that'll leave the king there. That'll bring this guy back into play. I wonder how I managed to fuck that up. Oh, I should have went here. I attacked the queen out of desperation. I got like 7 seconds left. He moves his king. That should indicate this right here. Check. Squeeze him further, but what did I do? A simple check, not bad, but not good either. He runs away, and I remember even thinking to myself, I just don't know how to mount an attack from here. I've got 5 seconds. I just take his pawn because that was there. So far as play, in reality, he doesn't have much either. Actually, he takes that rook right there, and I'm done for. I wonder how long that's been there. Oh my goodness. Right here. When the queen took, this queen could have taken this rook. And that's been the case for so long. Okay, let's go back. So yeah, so that rook was sitting there butt naked the whole time. I didn't notice it, and it seems like Charles didn't notice it either. And so here we are again. I'm trying to find some sort of place, some sort of attack. He can push his pawns. It's hard for him to get his king out of the way so that his queen and his rook can coordinate to get down here or something. But what does he do? He's bringing that rook in, protected by the king, to attack the queen, forcing the queen to move, snatching some initiative. The computer says this ignores a chance to capture a free piece. And that's what they're talking about. But at the same time, capturing that does put me in check, but the queen is without backup. She can check me a few times, I'll escape somehow, and then she'll have to find her way back into the fray. Here is in the fray. He's got to make moves here. He's got to free his king and find an attack on mine within the 3 seconds. Alright. So I finally make a ridiculous fucking attack on the queen. Like, you take mine, I'll take yours. He takes that rook, and I realize, yo, I just fucked up in such a spectacular way. There's no coming back. I've got 2 seconds left. I take a stupid pawn. This is just me giving up, I guess. He takes the queen, and I'm hoping nothing. I'm just dead out of time. 3-minute game. Back and forth, real wild. Even though he won on time, I think that with proper play with the queen, he might be able to put a stop. You know, doing something like this to get behind the pawn line here. He could do a lot of damage. Here with the rook would have to run away. Maybe here. You know, where would the rook go? Maybe here to protect this pawn right here. It just falls apart quickly. It falls apart when the queen can go here. The queen, after she goes here and the rook goes here to protect this pawn, she can go right here and attack both. At that point, you know what I'm saying, this pawn chain is forfeit. Those 3 pawns would be gone really quickly, just because this rook would have to move to protect from getting killed. Either way, he was definitely going to win. If this was a slower game, I would have mounted a better defense earlier. But no excuses. I got my ass beat fair and square. Anyway, thank you very much. I've been meaning to do this for a while. Just a little bit of an analysis. Am I the best chess player? Perhaps not. But I do enjoy doing these analyses. And so we will play again at some point.
I'll get you next time, Charles.